Hi guys, welcome back to the vlog. This is Stan here with you. Well, I just received my Australian driving license and I got this within 3 months after arriving here in Australia. So, in today's vlog, I'll explain how I converted my international driving license to the Australian driving license. So, this will involve the complete steps from A to Z. So, stay tuned for that. So an important thing you guys need to remember with this conversion is that it's not necessary for everyone to convert the international driving license to the Australian driving license, especially for students, because students from India, Pakistan or Philippines can actually drive in Australia with your international driving license. There's no need for you to convert. The conversion to the Australian driving license is only necessary for people looking at certain kind of jobs. So in such a case, it requires you to have compulsorily an Australian driving license. So this conversion step is only for them. So now let's get to the steps. There are just 3 tests which you need to clear to get this Australian driving license. So first is a theory test, second is the hazard perception test, and third is the actual driving test. So once you clear these 3 tests, you will actually get your international driving license converted to the Australian driving license. For the theory test, first you'll need to find your nearest service SA office. Now Modbury service SA was the nearest to my home, so I went there. And in Adelaide there are around 9 service SA offices, so you can choose one which is closer to your house and go there. Once you go there, go to the counter and tell them that you want to convert your international driving license to the Australian driving license, and they will give you a token. Wait, and you'll have to keep few documents ready. First is you'll have to have your international license, then you'll have to have your passport, and you'll need also your address proof. Now the address proof, you can get it from your bank's account statement or your proof of balance statement, and you will also have to pay $38 for Service SA to set up this online account for you. And so once the online account is done, you can come home, you can prepare for this theory course. I think it's a 4-hour course. You can finish it within 2 to 3 days, and once you finish it, you can do the test from home itself, and it's actually pretty easy. You can clear it easily. So that's the first test. You will also have to pay $358 for your temporary driving permit, which is valid for 3 months. Now, so within 3 months, you'll have to clear these 3 tests. You'll have to clear your theory test, your hazard perception test, and also your practical driving test. I think you can also extend your driving permit. I'm not sure about that. You'll have to check with your service SA, but I cleared my 3 driving tests within this 3 months. So I don't know about that. I had also applied for my R8 bike driving test. That was about to expire in 3 months because I didn't practice for that. So I got that extended for another 3 months. So maybe it's also possible to do that with your C-class driving permit, but just reconfirm that with your Service SA center. If you've done the theory test and you've cleared it, you have to go back to the same Service SA office and book a slot for the hazard perception test, and they will charge you $34 for the hazard perception test. Now sometimes they'll not be having a slot readily available for the hazard perception test at that particular Service SA center. So in such a case, you can actually request the Service SA to ask them for a center anywhere that has a nearest date to your liking. So in my case, I got a Service SA center in Kadina, which had a slot within 3 to 4 days. So I had booked that service center for my hazard perception test. Now the catch here is that the Service SA center is actually a 2 hours drive away from my home, but I still took that slot because I wanted to get my license as soon as possible. So you do have that option, and it cost me $34. Now I'll provide all the website links for where I practiced for the hazard perception test and the theory test in the description below. So please do check out those links and practice properly before you do these tests. So these 2 tests out of the way. Now the third test is the most difficult and the most expensive test. Practical driving test is actually a bit tricky. You can't actually save much money here. If you're actually interested in taking your Australian driving license, it's better not to look at it from money point of view, because the driving license is actually more valuable. So in this case, you'll have to go through a driving school to clear your driving test. See, now I've driven cars for more than 20 years, but still I needed to take their classes because there are a few changes that you need to make in your driving style to clear the test. The test will be very difficult. I mean, it's not, they don't want you to fail, but they'll want to 100% make sure that you're driving as per the Australian driving standards. Now to get the Australian driving standards in your driving style, you definitely have to go to a driving school. This is the basic, so you cannot save money in this. If you try to do the driving test yourself, there are high chances that you can fail. And also, if you listen to the driving instructors, you might think that they're after your money, but this is not true. If you need to clear the driving test, you need to take the classes. So in my case, I took three 2-hour classes. So each session was 2 hours, and each class cost $150. So it's around $75 per hour. So I took three driving classes. I did three mock tests and the final test. So how I planned it was that I wanted to know how bad or how good I was as per the Australian driving standards. So I chose a driving school. First I did a 1 hour mock test followed by a 1 hour class. So as soon as I did the mock test, I realized that I was way off from the Australian driving standards, and there's no way for me to clear the driving test without these classes. So that was a good thing that I did. So first was the 1 hour mock test and the 1 hour class, and the next two classes were just 2 hour classes. Then I did one more mock test after I finished the classes. So that was again another 2 hours. So once I was very confident, I asked my driving instructor to book practical driving test date for me with the examiner. So how I planned for the mock test was that I had asked my instructor to book for the mock test 1 hour before the actual driving test, so that I get accustomed to the test route and the road conditions. And it actually helped me a lot during the actual driving test. It actually brought down my nervousness a lot, so it was very helpful. So I'd actually advise you guys also to do a mock test just before your actual driving test. It's very helpful. And then I did the driving test with my examiner and I cleared it. And I also paid $420 for the mock test plus the driving test in the end. And so yeah guys, so this is the complete step from the theory test to the actual practical driving test, and how I cleared it. So once you clear your practical driving test, the examiner will give you a paper with your mark sheet. You'll have to take these two papers and go back to your service SA office and hand it over to them. And then they'll start the process of converting your international driving license to your Australian driving license. Now I opted for the 4 years driving license, so it cost me $216. Once you make the payment, you'll get a paper like this from your service SA. This is a temporary license till you get your actual full driver's license from Australia. So I got my driving license within 1 week after paying for it. So totally I did three mock tests, three classes, that is each class was 2 hours, and the final driving test. So in total it cost me $1,170 just for preparing and doing the last final driving test. So that's the cost involved for the last test. And the school that I chose for my driving lessons was the Ultra Driving School, and it's run by a guy called Mr. Vijay. He's a pretty good instructor. Now you can definitely go online and choose other good instructors if you want, but for me this guy was good. This is the entire step on how I converted my international license to the Australian driving license. So let's do a total tally of how much I spent from start till the end. So for the online MyLS account creation, I spent $38. Then I spent $358 for the 3 months learner's driving permit. Then I spent another $34 for the hazard perception test. Then I spent another $1,170 for the driving classes and the test. And I spent $216 for the 4 years driving license validity. So the grand total amount for converting my international driving license to the Australian driving license was $1,816 and 3 months. So this was the total time period and the total amount of money spent to convert my international driving license to the Australian driving license. I hope you guys found this information useful and informative, and if you did, please do hit the like button. Do consider subscribing to my channel, and until next time, as usual, this is Dan signing out. Bye bye.